Whether you're an active League esports watcher or just a casual player, it's no secret that Faker is the undisputed GOAT when it comes to League of Legends, as we've all seen his countless highlight-worthy plays that continue to impress even to this day.
Faker Shockwave will find them all! Oh, look at the cleanse, look at the moves! Faker, what was that? Form is temporary! Faker is forever!
But even though these plays are timeless classics that even the best pro players would dream of having in their career, showing montages of Faker's insane clutch factor is still only one way of visualizing how next level his career has been. And so after spending far too much time crunching the numbers across his unmatched legacy in League's professional play, I managed to come up with 5 graphs and charts that show how insane the unkillable Demon King is in ways that you've probably never seen before, with each visual being even more insane than the last one, beginning with Faker's total number of games that he's played since his debut in 2013. While League has seen hundreds if not thousands of amateur pro players try to land even a single split of time on a team's main starting roster, since debuting in 2013, Faker has started in an astonishing 1,533 games, unsurprisingly having one of the longest active careers of any player today, while also boasting one of the best debut performances in the game's history. In case you weren't around the League scene in early 2013, Faker's entry into Korea's Champions League was incredibly hyped up, as he was a rank 1 solo queue superstar about to play his first match versus CJ Blaze's mid laner Ambition, who at the time was regarded as the best player in the region. So while uncertainty loomed over whether this mid lane rookie could actually stand up to the region's best, just 6 minutes into the 1v1 matchup between Nidalee and Kha'Zix, the fans were given their answer, as with Ambition caught in an evolve animation, Faker quickly assessed the situation and found himself an opening.
I was curious to see how well Captain Jack would do in this lane, because he's been typically a relatively weak lane.
Whoa, Ambition! What? Faker just executes Ambition in that mid lane.
Oh yeah, also as an additional bit of trivia, you may have noticed that I mentioned Faker has managed to play the most games of any professional player, despite not even being the longest active player still competing today. And that's because it's actually his former top laner Impact from this same 2013 lineup that can claim this title as his own, which is nothing short of remarkable. But while boasting the most games played across an entire professional career is already an impressive accomplishment in of itself, not only has Faker been actively competing with record numbers during this time, but he's also dominated his region by racking up the most LCK kills of any player ever. And if you think this number is crazy, just wait until you see the gap that he has with international kills in just a moment. By the time of recording this video heading into the LCK's third split of 2025, Faker has already managed to secure an astonishing 3,512 kills against his Korean opponents, having more than 500 kills over Deft and around 1,000 more than any active player within the region across all roles, which is just insane. And even though T1 nowadays likes to funnel their resources into Gumayushi as opposed to always playing through Faker, just a couple of months ago, the unkillable Demon King managed to secure his second career pentakill nearly 10 years after his first, which fittingly came off the back of playing Ahri in a match versus DRX in the LCK's regular season, meaning that the two champions who have received skins for Faker's induction into the Hall of Legends are the same two that have scored pentas for the T1 mid laner. Plus, as an additional bit of trivia on how Faker has continued to hold this seemingly unbreakable LCK record, the champion he has the highest KDA on is Ezreal with a scoreline of 8.73, while his iconic Zed is still his most successful pick, holding a 91.7% win rate across his career, even though the last time he was locked in was during the LCK Spring Split in 2017. But like I mentioned a moment ago, even though the gap between Faker's regional kills compared to his closest competition is already a pretty large difference, when it comes to international competitions, that's where things get even wilder, as with a total of 1,044 kills combined over all the international tournaments he's played in, Faker is over 300 kills ahead of second place and has at least twice the amount of anyone who's not in the top 5, which is simply unbelievable. Also, the fact that T1's current lineup has 2 of the 5 players with the most kills in international history is something I didn't actually realize until researching the information for this chart, but I guess it would make sense considering that T1 has a tendency to do better than expected when it comes to international events. I mean, just look at how the past year or so has gone. And Faker's consistent clutch factor when it comes to racking up kills on the game's biggest stages has led him to more than just having impressive scorelines, as while his regional dominance has already led him to 18 of the 24 possible tournaments he could have competed in throughout the course of his international career, not one time in these tournaments has Faker or T1 finished worse than reaching semifinals, with Faker in particular still having never lost to an LPL team in a best of 5 series at Worlds. But before we approach what is perhaps the mid lane legend's most impressive stat yet when it comes to his unreal consistency, when it comes to prize winnings, Faker is truly in a class of his own, having nearly double the earnings of Ruler, and this doesn't even account for any skin sales, sponsorships, contracts, or anything like that. This is just purely prize pool winnings from big tournaments. Though the amount that Worlds winners make yearly from their dedicated skins isn't a publicly available number, we do know that they receive a yearly check for 25% of the total amount of the skin sales, which can be a payout of a solid 6 figures a year for some of the more popular skins. And when you combine this with the fact that Faker's Hall of Legends event sold very well, despite its, shall we say, financial controversy, he's made a pretty good chunk of change just off of in-game cosmetics, in addition to all of his prize pool winnings. Heck, even in just 1 hour of Faker doing a live stream to promote the skin, it generated roughly $2.7 million in sales, which is saddening, but nevertheless a shocking amount. And based on how surprisingly often I see that people have either bought the $250 or $500 bundle, I have no doubts that even after this live stream, it ended up selling pretty well. Also, if you haven't seen this clip before, this is Faker locking in Ahri during the LCK right after the skin went live. And I mean, it's about as on brand as you might expect.
All right, here we go.
Spin, baby.
Guess what? A huge groan from the crowd. Who could have seen this coming?
But even after all these prize winnings and sales from his 7 in-game skins, Faker is still sponsored by brands such as Nike and Red Bull, and has even appeared in multiple commercials for companies like Samsung and Doritos over the years, which is truly the biggest hidden financial perk of being such a consistent player. In fact, if you take a look at these 3 charts that I've assembled, you'll see just how unbelievably consistent Faker has been, as he holds the record not only for the most first place finishes, but also the most second and third place finishes as well when it comes to playoffs and international tournaments, which to not only be the leader in just one category, but rather in all 3 is simply unheard of, and will likely be a triple threat that is never achieved by any other player in League's history. For a player to have a combined 46 finishes within the top 3 of standings against the best teams in Korea, or even against the best teams in the world, is remarkable. And as you've probably noticed by now, this isn't even a number that has stopped growing in recent years due to T1's dominance from the Zio FGK era into the present day. Now, look, that's not to say there haven't ever been years of struggle for Faker or T1 as an organization. I mean, after all, they went from MSI 2017 all the way to Worlds 2023 without an international title. But the fact that Faker has been the only constant that's made it through this lineup after all these years shows what a solid base he offers for both the team and the organization as a whole. And as a thank you for watching this video all the way through, here's a list of other records records that Faker holds that I didn't directly talk about, but wanted to include anyways due to how worthy of recognition that they are. And before someone finishes typing a comment that I'm some sort of T1 fanboy who just wanted a video to glaze Faker, I'm just an avid League fan who respects how great of a player Faker has been and continues to be over all these years. And I'm also a college student who would like to make a bit of cash for pursuing his creative passions, and yeah, Faker's likeness helps a lot in doing that, so that's a plus as well. So yeah, with that all being said, hope you guys have a great rest of your day or night. As always, I'll catch you guys in the next video. Later!